Film begins with Micah turning on his new camera, casually recording himself at home as he excitedly tests the equipment. Soon after, he captures footage of his girlfriend Katie arriving at the house. As she steps inside, Micah continues filming every detail, giving a quick tour of their home. He explains that Katie has been experiencing strange and unexplained activity, and he hopes the camera will help reveal what is really happening. To test her claims, Micah mounts the camera on a tripod in their bedroom. It is positioned to capture the bed, the hallway, and the bathroom entrance. During the day, Micah records their normal routines, but it is the overnight footage that interests him most. The bedroom camera runs through the night. Around 2 a.m., faint sounds are heard, light creaks or movement, but no major disturbances occur through the night. The next morning, Katie notices something strange. Her keys are on the floor, even though she's sure she placed them on a counter or table the night before. Micah shrugs it off, but Katie is convinced she didn't drop them. This marks the first physical evidence that something may be interfering with their belongings. Eventually, she decides to consult a psychic, hoping for clarity and a solution. During the day, Katie and Micah are visited by a psychic named Dr. Fredericks, who specializes in paranormal phenomena. Katie greets him politely, and they all enter the house together. Dr. Fredericks asks if the activity began after Katie moved into the house. She tells him it started when she was 8 years old while sharing a room with her younger sister. They both experienced strange events, and soon after their house caught fire for unknown reasons. Since then, the haunting has returned periodically, but in the past few weeks, it has become much stronger. As they give him a tour of the house, Katie explains that she often hears scratching sounds and banging on the walls. Katie also says she sometimes hears whispering calling her name. Micah say he have heard strange noises but never someone call Katie. Dr. Frederick says this is not a ghost but something demonic attached to Katie herself. He warns them not to communicate with it and urges them to contact a demonologist. Micah thanks him, but remains skeptical. Later that night, the camera captures something unusual. The bedroom door swings halfway shut without anyone touching it. The next morning, Micah reviews the footage and shows it to Katie. She looks genuinely shocked and disturbed. This is one of the first times she clearly realizes that the activity is becoming more physical and harder to ignore. Even after being told not to provoke or communicate with the entity, Micah does the exact opposite. He starts speaking directly to the unseen presence, asking why it moved the door and demanding answers. Instead of calming the situation, his actions seem to invite more attention from whatever is inside the house. Katie tells Micah that while watching the recordings may be exciting for him, for her, it is nothing new. She explains that strange things have been happening to her since childhood, and she is terrified that using the camera might make things worse. She makes it clear that she does not want to provoke whatever is there. Later that night, Katie suddenly wakes up from a terrifying nightmare. Almost immediately, a loud thud echoes through the house. Startled, Micah quickly grabs the camera and rushes downstairs to investigate. Katie follows him, visibly shaken and scared. They search the house carefully, checking different rooms, but they don't find anything out of place. Confused and uneasy, they return to their bedroom, realizing that whatever caused the sound left no physical trace behind. The next day, Katie spends time with her friend Amber. Micah plays them an audio recording from the previous night, and strange, unexplained sounds can be heard. Micah begins to wonder if the entity is trying to communicate. He suggests using a Ouija board, but both Katie and Amber immediately shut him down. They warn him that it is dangerous and could make everything worse. Katie makes him promise not to buy one. Later that night, despite everything he was told, Micah begins antagonizing the unseen presence. He speaks directly into the darkness, mocking it and calling it worthless, clearly trying to provoke a reaction. Katie, already exhausted and scared, tells him to stop. Around 3:13 a.m., faint noises wake Katie, followed by violent thuds that shake the house. Micah grabs the camera, and they leave the bedroom to investigate. As they move downstairs, the chandelier is seen swaying on its own, as if something unseen has passed through. Micah searches the house thoroughly, checking every room, but nothing appears disturbed. No objects are broken, and there is no clear explanation. They return to bed shaken. Yet even then, faint sounds continue echoing through the house, leaving them awake, silent, and unsure of what is stalking them in the dark. The haunting is no longer isolated incidents. Each night, the disturbances are growing louder, more frequent, and more violent. Micah is excited by the footage from the previous night, calling it great evidence, while Katie is clearly terrified. She warns him that they should stop messing with whatever is in the house and stop recording, but Micah ignores her. Instead, he walks through the empty rooms with a microphone, speaking directly to the unseen presence and demanding answers. Later, while reviewing the audio, he hears a low, disturbing growl hidden in the silence, something he never noticed while recording.
Something to say in English this time? Whoa. Oh.
That night, around 1:35 a.m., Katie suddenly wakes up and silently stares at Micah as he sleeps. She remains completely still for hours. Around 3:30 a.m., she leaves the room. Sometime later, Micah wakes up, grabs the camera, and searches the house, calling out Katie's name. Unable to find her inside, he steps outside and sees her sitting alone on a swing in the backyard. When he gently wakes her and asks her to come back inside, she refuses, saying she does not want to go in. Micah returns inside to grab a blanket, but a loud thud suddenly comes from their bedroom. Alarmed, he rushes back and finds the television turned on by itself, blasting static. There is no sign of anyone in the room. Moments later, Katie appears behind Micah and calmly goes back to bed, acting as if nothing happened. The next day, Micah shows her the footage. Watching herself wander outside without any memory of it leaves Katie deeply disturbed, realizing she has no control over what is happening to her. Despite promising Katie he would not buy one, Micah secretly brings a Ouija board into the house. When Katie sees it, she explodes in anger, and the argument quickly escalates until she storms out, with Micah following. While the camera continues recording, the Ouija board begins to move on its own. The planchette slowly slides across the board, spelling out a message, before the board suddenly bursts into flames. Later, Micah finds the burned board with strange markings on it. When Katie sees it, she becomes even more furious, blaming Micah for making everything worse by ignoring her warnings. Katie remains furious with Micah. Later, he appears in front of the camera, trying to calm the situation, attempting to persuade her and promising that he will stop provoking the entity. He tells her that he won't try to communicate with it anymore. Next, Katie reluctantly allows Micah to try one final experiment using baby powder, but warns him that if it does not work, she will call a demonologist. Later, Micah spreads baby powder on the floor outside their bedroom, hoping it will reveal footprints if something passes through. Around 3:15 a.m., slow, heavy footsteps echo through the house, waking them both. As they stare at the powder on the floor, clear footprints begin to appear, forming on their own. The footprints do not look human. Terrified, Micah follows the trail as it leads through the house and up into the attic. Inside the attic, they discover an old photograph of Katie as a child. She is shocked, insisting she has not seen it in over 15 years and has no idea how it ended up there. The next morning, Katie tries to contact the demonologist, but learns he is out of town. Instead, she reaches out to Dr. Fredericks, who agrees to visit the following day. That night, the lights downstairs turn on by themselves, followed by the sound of footsteps. Suddenly, the bedroom door slams shut violently, frightening both of them. As he tried to open it, a loud bang echoes in the room. Katie, terrified, begged him not to open the door, but Micah goes outside anyway, calling out to the entity. Then their room door also slammed shut on its own, scaring them even more. They went downstairs to check the house, and after a while when hunting stopped, they returned to their room, visibly shaken, especially Katie. The following morning while they are eating, a loud thud comes from upstairs. Micah grabs the camera and finds a damaged photograph with his face violently scratched. Moments later, they feel something breathing on Katie's face, sending her running downstairs in terror. When Dr. Fredericks arrives later that day, he immediately senses the entity's anger. Realizing the situation is beyond his expertise, he quickly leaves, warning them that he cannot help. That night, Katie lies in bed crying, clearly terrified. Around 3. The lights begin turning on and off by themselves, and she wakes Micah, saying she felt something breathing on her face again. Micah searches the room but finds nothing, leaving them both shaken and on edge. By next morning, Katie insists they must act before things get worse. Micah finally decodes the Ouija board message and reveals the name Diane. He shows Katie a website he found during his research. According to it, Diane experienced the same haunting from the age of 8, sensing a presence and feeling something breathing near her. Years later, her house burned down in the 1960s. She eventually sought help through an exorcism, but instead of stopping the entity, it only enraged it. Not long after, Diane was killed. The discovery leaves Katie deeply terrified, realizing how dangerous their situation truly is. Later that night, the camera captures Katie being violently dragged out of bed by something unseen. Micah panics and rushes after her, managing to pull her back into the bedroom. The next morning, Katie is shaken and insists they leave the house. Micah agrees immediately. When he checks her back, a clear bite mark is visible, confirming the entity has physically attacked her. As Micah prepares to leave, he calls out to Katie, but she does not respond normally. She stands holding a cross, blood dripping from her hand, seemingly unaware of the pain. Terrified, Micah carries her back to bed. Moments later, Katie suddenly changes. She calmly tells Micah she no longer wants to leave and asks him to stay with her. A slow, sinister smile spreads across her face, making it clear that something else has taken control. Around 1:30 a.m., Katie suddenly wakes and silently stares at Micah. By 3:14 a.m., she goes downstairs shouting his name. Micah wakes in panic and rushes after her. A violent struggle is heard off-screen before the shouting abruptly stops, replaced by slow, deliberate footsteps. Moments later, Micah's body is hurled into the camera. Katie, covered in blood, walks forward and stares directly into the lens with a chilling, sinister smile as the footage cuts to black. It is later revealed that Micah's body was discovered on October 11, 2006, while Katie's whereabouts remain unknown. And that's how this story ends. Or does it? If you enjoyed this recap, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until then, stay out of the darkness.